The hottest hot rods, custom cars, and vehicles from past and present were on display at the 2009 Detroit Autorama. Over 1,000 exhibits were enjoyed by gearheads and the just plain curious folks who enjoy seeing these vehicles up close and personal. The Autorama has a long history in Detroit and was the first paying customer at Cobo Hall more than 50 years ago.
The Autorama is the hot rod guys. These are the guys with the street machines, the muscle cars, the hot rods, the customs that take these cars and rework them, make them very personal, their own thing. Where the new car show is a show strictly on the new and upcoming stuff. But it's funny, we get a lot of people attend this show from the big three that look at colors and look at designs and get a lot of ideas for the new cars.
The cars are handpicked by a committee every year with the goal of providing an interesting variety for spectators. The cars on display are also judged in various categories, and awards are handed out on the last day of the event.
The cars that do come to Autorama are a lot of the cars you see in the magazines and see on TV, like Chip Foose has a car here again this year, and Troy Trepanier has cars. What's the big builders are here, but also we have the home builders here. That's what makes it fun.
Michigander Dave Schutten had several amazing custom cars on display, including the Orbitron, originally designed and built by the late Ed Big Daddy Roth. Schutten restored it after it was found being used as a dumpster in Mexico.
It was completely destroyed. It was missing from the setback headlights forward. All that part of the body, the hood, the bubble, and all that was gone. It was completely destroyed. And I spent about 4.5 months out in LA restoring this car to where you see it now.
How do you even find out its location, and how does it wind up in your possession?
Well, it's really pretty wild. A good friend of mine, Michael Lateborn from El Paso, Texas, he's known as like the West Texas Scout. He just finds all this stuff. And he actually sends out disposable cameras to some people in Mexico. They take pictures of random cars, he gets them back, and then he goes and investigates.
So this is brought to your attention, and you instantly recognize it as being one of Roth's?
Correct. Yeah, he only builds one of each of his cars, or built one of each of his cars. And yeah, we've been looking for this for 20 years.
The legendary George Barris was also in attendance, but instead of being surrounded by his famous cars from film and television, Barris was eager to show off several cars customized by himself and his brother Sam, who passed away in 1967. Barris refers to these cars as the legend cars and includes Sam's 1949 Mercury, the Hirohata Merc built by George and Sam for Robert Hirohata in 1951, and a la carte, built in 1957 from a 1929 Ford pickup truck.
Of course, I was fortunate to pioneer customizing back in the 40s when I was doing my very first car, which was a 1925 Buick, which I had to be able to customize. But of course, from there, I was generated with my brother and I. We went into the chopping the Mercuries and sectioning the shoe boxes, and we had a lot of fun pioneering many of these cars that you see here. And like the 3 cars right here, my brother's very first Merc, that 49 over there, the green one. He bought it at a dealership, had 5 miles on it, drove it into the shop. We ripped out all the upholstery, took all the glass out, took the hacksaws to it, and he didn't even have 5 miles on the car. And then we have the Hirohata Mercury was the very first one that had many unique changes. And then, of course, the Grand National Roadster winner right here, the a la carte we built for Richard Peters, our dear friend from Fresno, right over here also in our booth. And it's kind of an honor for me to be here. I've been a legend and tributed here with many of our cars, but it turns out that Detroit and the Autorama is probably the #1 custom car show, and I would say in the world, not only the USA now, because the selection of cars and the talent that's here can never, ever be equal in any other show. Even in the Grand National out at the West Coast, used to be in Oakland and went to Los Angeles, doesn't equal the Detroit Autorama that the Larrabee and all the group has done.
For decades, Barris has produced numerous cars for television and film out of his shop in North Hollywood, including the coach from the TV series The Munsters. Of course, George Barris's most famous creation is the Batmobile, built in 1966 for the Batman TV series. The original is currently housed in the Peterson Museum in Los Angeles. Barris is still going strong, attending car shows like the Autorama, but when it's all said and done, we asked him how he would like to be remembered.
I think the thing I enjoy more than anything, cars are wonderful, but people are better. So my biggest thrill is when people come up to me and shake my hand and say, gee, you know, you've done a great job on cars. So meet and greet of people is real and very realistic. And cars are fun to, and they're collectors, but people are the best. I was a 13-year-old boy that played with a craft that nobody was doing anything with. That means I was taking and doing cars. Now, I made that successful, and that only could be done and made in America and USA.
Known as the Bubble Top King, Darryl Starbird was honored as the 2009 Builder of the Year at the Autorama. Darryl has been building and customizing cars for more than 55 years. Some of his incredible creations were on display, traveling to Detroit from his museum in Oklahoma.
Well, it's a great honor here to be part of the big Autorama here. Of course, I've known about it my whole life, and one of my many desires was to be Builder of the Year for a lot of years now. I always like to look ahead and do something different, and you know, be not just copy the 50s look, although I enjoyed the 50s cars.
The futuristic designs that you come up with, are you surprised that we don't see these in everyday street cars, or do you understand the need for them to be more practical?
Well, both, actually. I am somewhat surprised because many of the cars I've developed over the years have been cars that could have very well have been used everyday situation. But also I didn't have to, you know, deal with the problems of headroom, legroom, safety and all that Detroit designers have had to deal with. So I've had a complete freedom of expression, so to speak, or freedom of design.
When people come and you see them checking out your work, what does that mean to you?
Well, of course, it gives me a great feeling that they appreciate what I've done. And like I say, I've tried to always do something different, not fall in any particular mode of design. So Monogram also did, you know, like 15 of my cars into model cars, and many developed off of the original car. And they, of course, gave me the opportunity to have more freedom of design because, you know, they had the money behind them to do it. And so I've been very lucky in that extent.